When things in your life seem almost too much to handle, when 24 hours in a day are not enough, remember the mayonnaise jar and the coffee? There was a professor who used to start his class with an illustration. He would start with an empty mayonnaise jar and a box of golf balls. He would fill the jar with the golf balls and ask the students if the jar was full. Since there were no spaces between the golf balls, the students would agree that it was. Then the professor would bring in a box of pebbles and pour them into the jar. The pebbles rolled into the open areas between the golf balls. He then asked the students again if the jar was full. They agreed it was. Next, he brought in a box of sand and poured it into the jar. Of course, the sand filled up everything else. He asked once more if the jar was full. Students responded, yes. Then the professor brought out 2 cups of coffee from under the table and poured the entire contents into the jar. The students laughed because the coffee filled the empty space between the sand. Now, said the professor, as the laughter subsided, I want you to recognize that this jar represents your life. The golf balls are the important things: your God, your family, your children, your health, your friends, and your favorite passions. Things that if everything else was lost and only they remained, your life would still be full. The pebbles are the other things that matter, like your job, your house, and your car. The sand is everything else, the small stuff, he continued. If you put the sand into the jar first, he said, there is no room for the pebbles or the golf balls. The same goes for life. If you spend all your time and energy on the small stuff, you will never have room for the things that are important. One of the students raised her hand and inquired what the coffee represented. The professor smiled. I'm glad you asked. It just goes to show you that no matter how full your life may seem, there's always room for a couple of cups of coffee with a friend.